What's going on, guys? It's Steve here. Welcome to the Rabbit Hole Podcast. I've got host Kyle, Brian, and Ben here with me today. We've got a pretty good show. What's going on, guys?
Not much. First, I gotta say, I love that intro video. So great job.
Oh, was that your first time seeing it?
I didn't get a chance to see it last week.
Oh, okay.
What's
cool.
up, everybody?
I'm gonna have to fix it so that I can put it on YouTube because of copyright reasons. Because I'm gonna cut that part out for YouTube. But anyway, so we got AEW Recap, good pay-per-view that happened last Saturday. I know Will's not here with us today, or Kev. They're going to a convention soon, and they've already been traveling because they're a little further away. Or actually, Kev had some family stuff he needed to take care of. But we'll recap AEW. We're also going to go over our best tag teams in WWE, well, wrestling in general, and a couple other things. So we'll go ahead and get started with the show and tell segment. Do you guys have anything that you want to show off this week?
I know Ben does.
Oh, yeah. Found this bad boy.
Oh, wow.
This is a cool pop. I think came out to the stores. The pallbearer and the Undertaker. Of course, it has the WrestleMania. I'm not good at Roman numerals, so I guess that's 9. I could be wrong.
That's 9.
Yeah, that's 9.
But yeah, this one, pretty cool. Dual pop. Like I said, that was pretty much the only new ones. And then I have some non-wrestling, but since this is a wrestling show, couldn't get any better than an Undertaker and a pallbearer.
I just passed that one up at GameStop the other day too. I saw that they had one of them sitting there, and I was like, "Yeah,
it's a good one."
What's up, guys? In the comments, I see you there, Robert. Let's see, Thomas is here with us as well.
What's up, guys?
I actually have a pop figure to show off today too. I'll go ahead and go next. So I actually got this, I think, from Ben or Will, but it's a signed red, white, and blue Sergeant Slaughter. And I think there's some on the side too. Nope, that was my Lawler is signed on the side. But I thought that was cool. So I've got that in the collection. I only buy pops typically if they're already signed because I don't want to have 1,000 pops, Because if they're all signed, they're usually like $60 to $100, sometimes more. But if I was just buying every wrestling pop I came across, I'd have like 1,000 of them. But I might buy that Taker Bear one.
Nice.
If I ever make my way to GameStop. What about you, Kyle? You got something to show today, or?
I do. So today I have the limited edition, the Rocky Maivia, still in the case. I got this probably a year ago on a fresh case break. So this packaging on this thing is, as close to mint as you can get. This thing came out in 1997. And it was actually The Rock's first action figure that he had to market. So, what you guys are gonna find out real quick that I'm a huge Rock fan. So, I have a lot of Rock stuff.
Nothing wrong with that.
This is probably one of my favorite pieces. So,
yeah, I've been seeing a lot of that. Well, I did because I just got done with 97. I'm like halfway through 98 now. I've been kind of shitting through it, but yeah. He already took over the Nation Domination in my rewatch. Brian, you got some stuff to show too, right?
So, real quick, interesting fact: I do not own one pop in my life. Don't ask me why. I'm just not a fan of them. Second thing, you guys know I love Ultimate Editions. I love Hasbro's. I love retros. These are new to me. Okay, Ringside, Best of Series Ultimate Edition. Got the Bret Hart.
Nice.
And I got the Trips.
Oh,
now
yeah.
Before I was looking for these, they're going for like $200, $300. $55 a piece. All day long, baby. So I love my Ultimate Editions, and my Razor Ramon and my AJ should be coming soon too. So,
and then also you got one more.
Huh?
You got one more figure coming, not a Ultimate. The Dusty Rhodes.
Oh yeah, that's today.
That's
when a man buys a lot of figures, he forgets a couple.
That's true.
Then Amazon.
Guys. Let me tell you a quick story real quick on these figures. Me and Brian in the chat's been looking for the Dusty Rhodes WrestleMania figure, the Build-A-Figure for the Mean Gene, and that's the last ones we need. And of course, all of a sudden, Walmart is finally starting to bring them out. But when I went to the one close by, they didn't have the Dusty. They had the Rock and the Macho Man, and I already had Hogan. So I was like, man, I need the Dusty. And then so me and Brian's been, talking. And then so everybody's been looking for it and nowhere. That's like the hardest figure to find. And then I found it on Ringside like first of the week. And I was so pumped. I was like, okay, I need to get some stuff like some ring or some figure protectors, and I'm gonna get that because it was $24.99. Everywhere else I'm seeing it's like $40 or more. So I went to get it, went to check out, and it says, sorry, we were sold out. I was like, you got to be kidding me. So by then I've already texted Brian. I said, Brian, hey, get on there and check it out. They got it, and then pretty much within a few minutes it's sold out. I was like, well, there went that. So then I got messing around looking on Amazon, and I went to Amazon. They finally had them, and Amazon was actually cheaper and free shipping. So we got it for like $2 cheaper, and mine's scheduled to be here on Sunday. So I'm pumped about that.
And real quick, guys out there, Ben is still looking for a Drew McIntyre.
Yes, if you can find a Drew McIntyre Survivor Series 2022, the Build-A-Figure of Rick Rude, I need that. I've only seen it out there, and it's like right now retailed at $40. But hopefully I can find it a little bit cheaper. But please hit me up and let me know. But I need that, the Build-A-Figure Rick Rude. I think it's his pants is what it is.
I really thought your figure would have been Roman Reigns there, Ben, that Roman Reigns retro.
I'm glad you talked about that. Matter of fact, I think I got it actual put up because that one was an expensive one, and I wanted to make sure to keep that one. But yeah, guys, another real quick story. Brian, thank you so much, and William. They did a brother gesture. Like I said, it was tremendous. It meant a lot to me. They went together and bought spent their money on myself to get a Roman Reigns retro figure. That was the last one I needed. Guys, I can't thank y'all enough. Like I said, that completed my retro collection.
Hell yeah, dude.
Matt,
props.
right there.
Pat's on back, man.
Yes.
By Barry Horowitz.
Have you guys had good luck getting figures on Amazon? Like, do they show up in good condition,
Yeah.
like the boxes? And
It's a hit or miss. It's just like Ringside. They don't put no protection in there. You're lucky it's in a box, and you're lucky to pray to God they don't Ace Ventura and kick it around or punt it or throw it around. But I've had some bad luck with Ringside where back when the AEW Series 1 came out, I was able to purchase the Brandy and the Chris Jericho. Of course, the Brandy was the outrageous figure. It showed up, great condition. But the Jericho, the box was beat up. So then I think I've resold that loose, and I found another Jericho to replace it. But I've had hit or miss luck with Ringside. Amazon, knock on wood, it's been okay. But that one's going to get open, so it could show up damaged to me, and as long as it's complete.
The last figure I got from Amazon would have been the Amazon exclusive Hogan.
Yeah.
When we all got it for like $20.
Yep.
And it shipped perfectly fine. Nothing was wrong with it. So.
Yeah, and matter of fact, I just got that gold. Speaking of that, I got a Goldberg figure that came. Actually, it almost looks like this. It came. This is the retro box, but it came like this in the inside like that. That's how they shipped it to me from Amazon. And it was just in a small box like this, and it was fine.
Getting kind of mixed reviews from Amazon in the comments. One person was saying they sent them in the padded envelope, so I was kind of worried about that. So, Ben, you've only gotten them in boxes so far?
Yes, so far.
Yeah,
I've only what I've ordered has been in boxes. Thank God.
Now Walmart, when I ordered that Shawn Michaels to replace my one that was damaged, they shipped that in a bubble mailer.
Ooh.
Walmart did.
Ooh.
Yeah, because I know.
Luckily, the card was fine and the figure was fine, but it was just a bubble mailer.
Because talking about
you have to be careful with Walmart too, because not all the sellers on Walmart, Walmart kind of operates just like Amazon. It's with something. So depending on how you bought it through Walmart, it could have came from a third party. It could have came from anywhere.
And then another one I'm kind of worried about too is I'm waiting on the pre-order. I placed pre-orders. But I'm getting that fan takeover, Bret the Hitman Hart Ultimate, and the Bash at the Beach Hulk Hogan. Those are through Target. And I got that. I've only ordered from Target once, that Shawn Michaels, and it showed up okay. But yet again, it was just a box and then the figure inside the box. That was all, no packing, no nothing.
I'm so scared to order from Target.com because I'm afraid they'll put the sticker on the figure. And and you know, the way those fan takeover figures have been lately, they have more than they can sell. So
yeah,
I'm not too worried about not finding a Bret Hart.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it'd be no bueno.
I was just disappointed that I couldn't pre-order the Polly Dangerously. That was the one I was desperately wanting to get, but I'm sure we'll find that at the stores because
hopefully.
But speaking of ringside shipping, I've ordered 2 big boxes from them before, and I've always had at least one thing that was screwed up pretty bad. And the first time it happened, I actually, I hit them up about it, but it was going to be more work than it was worth. So I was just like, whatever, I'll just.
The one guy that's not here that orders big packages from ringside is not here, William Hudson. He can tell you.
He's in the comments. I don't know if you saw
big
that.
Packages from ringside.
Yeah, he's just on the road right now because of the expo that he's going to. So he doesn't have good enough signal. Yeah, the Stinger. Yeah.
Yep.
Getting a couple of stingers done. And I think Honky Tonk's there. Greg Valentine's there. And
Rob Van Dam. Rob Van Dam's there. And then Devon. And then a lot of your legends. And yeah, it's going to be a pretty good show. It's a lot of the old school.
Yeah. But Brian, you talking about never owning any pop figures, man. That's kind of good because you don't want to get lost in that sauce, man.
Yeah, there's so many made that, I'm good.
Yeah, I remember about 10 years ago, I was listing things for a local game store online, and I remember seeing those things come up, and I'm like, dang, man, they're making all kinds of these. It'd be cool if they made wrestling ones. And then they started doing that. Yeah. And then, it gets out of hand really quick.
I can't believe how expensive some of those are. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's our version of the Beanie Babies in modern day.
I'm the complete opposite. Obviously, I have a lot of pops. I have a lot of wrestling pops, so I'm complete opposite than you.
I got several too, but they're tucked away. But I'm just like lately, it's just like with the pops, it's now going towards the elites and stuff, and I'm buying more of the stuff I grew up and liked. So a lot of the older legends, the 80s, 90s. Yeah.
So you'll be seeing a lot of stuff from me in the chat once my other Facebook page. I'm always out there sharing photos of figures and letting you guys know when they come out and all that stuff. So I'll keep you guys in the loop on stuff.
Yeah, Brian is our figure collector and helps us out, remind us when pre-orders and when dates and times comes up, especially when we have to order from Mattel. Yeah, it's huge.
Will says Amazon. Will says in the comments that Funkos show up smash, but everything else is pretty good.
Now, do they have the same like return policies? Like, will they accept? Because I know, like ringside, from stories I've heard, that if you receive something damages, they'll complain and say, "Oh, it's not your fault. You should have bought a protector," or and then try to hassle you not to take it, send it back, or it takes forever for them to refund you or to send something back to you. Is Amazon, I guess, the same way, or is it just ringside?
So I did 5 years working customer service for Amazon. So basically, whoever you talk to, whenever you have an issue, it's really up to them. They could basically, when I worked there, I'm sure it's the same now too, but they could pretty much give you anything they want up to $100, and anything over that, they have to just get approval, which is 99% of the time going to happen because Amazon accounts are actually tracked internally. So like, let's say if you've been a customer of theirs for 20 years and you've had 10 problems, more than likely they're going to give you whatever you want because they know that you're not lying. You're not a bad customer, because they call them concession abusers. So like if you had an account for 3 years and 7 out of 10 orders are refunded or replaced and stuff because you say you didn't get it, then you'll get escalated or denied, basically. So Amazon does have really good customer service. I definitely will give them that.
Oh yeah, they take
yeah. But I think that was everything for show and tell, right?
Yeah, it went a little longer there, but it's all right.
Oh, it's all good, man. We got all the time.
That's what we're here for, also to talk about it, wrestling and ways to help out, the people with collecting and how to where to get stuff and where to buy it or where to, what to expect from them.
So funny story about Amazon real quick, okay? I back when Amazon had them, you know those Macho Man Slim Jim holders that everyone was freaking out about? Well, Amazon had them. I bought one. Well, I didn't know I subscribed to buying it. Like literally once a week I got one. I had like 5 of them.
Oh, wow.
Did you end up selling them or what?
They're all gone now except for one. I
was
have
about to
one,
say,
but I'm like, they were in the
I'll let
box
you
and
boy.
everything. I'm like, what are these? What are all these collecting for? Yeah,
Like
I hit the
you were
subscribe button.
you were just getting the display, or you were actually getting the Slim Jims?
No. It was just the display piece.
Yeah, it's
But I
it's
called
the
the guy
Macho
and
and the Slim Jim.
He's like, oh, we subscribed, and he gave me my money back. And he told me to keep them. I'm like, well, I don't feel right doing that. But
Yeah. Hey,
Yeah,
I think you're Brian. They were wanting you to snap into a Slim Jim.
Pretty much, man.
I should have.
Those things are cool, man.
They are.
Moving on, we got some WWE 2K23 news. So this actually comes out next week. And they've been revealing a lot of information in regards to the game. And they just recently revealed all of the characters that they're going to have for the DLC packs. And I have some feelings about it. And I'd like to share that with you as soon as I can get the right screen selected. There we go. It's coming up there. Yep. So the Steiner brothers, I'm cool with. So here's the actual full list. I don't know if you guys can really see that too well on camera, but essentially April 19th is going to be the first drop. So that's a little over a month after the game comes out. And the first pack is going to have the Steiner brothers, Ashanti, Top Dollar, and B-Fab. Then, moving on, you've got, the Good Brothers, Tiffany Stratton, Elton Prince, Kit Wilson, Harley Race, which is cool. I don't think we've ever had him before. Ivy Nile, Wendy Chu, Tony D'Angelo, Trick Williams. Then you got Bray Wyatt in July with Zeus, Valhalla, Joe Gacy, Blair Davenport. And then the final DLC pack coming out in August, Eve Torres, Wade Barrett, Damon Kemp, Andre Chase, and Nathan Frazier. They always pronounce their names differently whenever they spell something like that. Like I found out the other day that Brendan Fraser's actual name is Fraser. like he said it himself. So I was like, I'll be damned, my whole life.
I'm gonna die on this hill. They have all those guys, but still no Ric Flair.
No Flair.
Drives me nuts.
Yeah, I mean it's ridiculous, but not only that, but I had a video that I made the other day about this. It's really underwhelming, this DLC pack. It's really like 10 people you would actually want that are like peppered into each pack, like 1 or 2 guys. So I ended up canceling my Icon Edition pre-order because I'm not paying all that money for such an underwhelming thing. And I'll just get the standard edition. But like, do you guys play? Like, how do y'all feel about that lineup?
I'm a non-gamer. Can you kind of explain like what a DC
DLC?
Explain it to
downloadable content.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically, like, if you buy the deluxe edition or the Icon edition of WWE 2K23, which costs like $100 and $120, you get extra shit. And one of them is you get the season pass. But if you don't buy those editions, you can buy the season pass for $30 separately. And what that is you get all those wrestlers. You get like the packs that come out like, every month consecutively for 5 months. But that's pretty much it. So those are people that you get. And, other than like the Steiners, Zeus, I don't even know if I would. Yeah, I don't even know if I would use Harley Race, but it's still cool that he's in there.
You can make him a manager of somebody,
Yeah.
Vader.
A lot of those. That's true.
Make him a manager of Vader. Vader's in the game.
Yeah. So I'm just thinking like, last year's DLC lineup was a lot better, but there's a lot of like NXT people in those that I don't care about. Or I don't know who they are.
You said Beef. You have B-Fab, and who else? Who else is in there with that group? I could care less about that.
Let me see. Let me pull it back up.
It's really strange that they are a DLC. B-Fab and all them.
B-Fab, Top Dollar. B-Fab's not even playable. She's only in there for a manager. It actually says that here. And then Ashanti, Adonis. So that's like the first pack that you get.
I wonder if they were a late addition to it because they just came onto the main. They probably had all that stuff done before the main roster, before they came to the main roster. So I don't know, but it just seems strange that they're on a DLC list.
Yeah. I got two things. So I saw where I think Scarlett Bordeaux got removed from it. There might have been another female talent. I don't think that made it to the game. And then also too, so if you don't buy this extra for $120 or $100, whatever, and you get the season pass, are you still able to like I know like in the older games, like you could play in like a career mode or something, and then those people become unlocked, later. Can you unlock them for free, or do you still got to pay that additional price to get them in the game?
The season pass is just for those DLC characters that we went over. As you play the game, you unlock characters in the game by earning money as you play, or I guess they call it WWE credits or something like that. And you could buy them in the game, which I actually prefer it that way because you can buy a thing called the Supercharger pack or whatever. It's an additional thing you can buy if you don't get the deluxe, because it comes with deluxe and all that. It's really confusing for someone that doesn't play games, right?
Yeah,
I've always thought it was confusing, and I understand it. So, but yeah, basically later on you could be like, I don't want to grind out. I just want to have everybody unlocked. I want all the arenas and all the belts unlocked right now. I think it's either $5 or $10. You pay them. Basically, you pay them. And then you get everything, and you're like, well, now I have everything. I don't really care to play anymore, or at least that's how I feel. So I essentially pay them to not play their game.
The only thing I can, like I said, this is how long ago. I remember playing a lot of the WWE Smackdown or Smackdown versus Raw. Here Comes the Pain. I can remember that mode where you would unlock the play or the different talent, but I remember it's like, how we're talking about ones, it's like, well, do we really care? Are we going to play them? Was the Fit Finley's zombie talent. That's the one that caught me off guard.
Yeah, I think they did that for 2K20. They did like the undead ones and stuff, which was kind of cool.
So I know we're talking about WWE 2K23 and we're talking about downloadable content and all that, but, from what I hear about the AEW game coming out is that you pay for the game, right? And then every year or whatever season, you can just download the new one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why can't WWE do that? I mean,
they want the cash.
I get it. And believe me, I get it. But they can still charge, $50 to $60 for it. You know what I mean?
Well, here's another thing that I covered in my video that I did on 23 recently. I've thought they should have done this for a while, but when you play a game like Rock Band, and they have DLC, they have a music store where you can get more songs, right? And you pay like $2 per song. And then when the new game comes out, everything you've already bought will carry over. I think that they should do away with the season pass crap and just have individual wrestlers available for like $3 or $4 a piece. And then you can just go in and buy whoever you want. And then when the new game comes out, they carry over too. And so a couple years go by, you have 300 fucking people to play as in your game. It would be way better that way. And they would end up making a lot of money doing it that way too, I think. And you'd see more killer DLC because, if they put out Ashanti Adams or whoever that was, nobody's going to buy that. Maybe like, 5% or 10% of the people that play the game. But then you put someone like Ric Flair, everybody's going to buy him.
Yeah.
So I always felt like they should have done something like that. But yeah, are you guys getting 2K23? I know Ben, I know you're not, but
I will.
Speaking of Fight Forever, I'm going to get that too because that's made by the same people that made No Mercy. So that's going to be
Listen,
baller.
there's only one genre of games that Ben likes. You want to know what it is?
What?
Say it, Ben. Horror.
Horror.
With
the I gotta add that R, the extra R to it.
Horror.
Gotcha. So overrated, underrated, then and now. So basically, I wanted to spend a couple of minutes this week talking about, people that we think are overrated in the WWE or any promotion for that manner or matter, as well as underrated. And it could be of all time. It doesn't have to be current. I did choose to go with current picks. And I guess I'll go ahead and I'll kick it off. So for overrated, I think Liv Morgan is overrated. And the reason I think that is because she's not a very good wrestler. I do understand that you tried to push her really well. You know, they gave her the belt for a while. I think that was just for the, fanfare or whatever. But I don't think that she's ready for like the spotlight. I think she needs a lot more tweaking and practice. And then for underrated, I chose Mustafa Ali. I always felt like he could be a top guy, that he always gets the raw end of the stick. Talk about Brock Lesnar Money in the Bank that one year where he won the damn match and he wasn't even in the match. Nobody sells as good as Mustafa Ali. Every time he's hit his head on that outside post, it's like a 360 backflip.
Have you seen Dolph Ziggler?
He's great too.
Ziggler sells phenomenally.
He's great, but he was a top guy for a while, so I don't consider him underrated. But yeah, I love the Zig man. Robert agrees about Liv, so at least I know I'm not alone in that. But Kyle, you want to go ahead and go next? I'm just kind of go left, right, top, bottom.
Sure. So for underrated, I always thought Victoria was underrated. Victoria was a phenomenal wrestler, and I think she got overlooked in the Lita and the Trish Stratus storylines, and she kind of fell behind. And like when you look at like the WWE currently, I feel like Bayley has kind of fallen into like that same trap that Victoria has, where she had a push for a little bit. She was doing some things. She won some titles. Victoria did that. But now it's kind of like, oh, what do we do with Bayley now? You know, she went away a little bit with an injury, and she just hasn't been able to like get her feet back under her and get herself into like the mainstream of the women's roster. But to kind of talk about like where you were talking about, Steven, is like with Liv, the whole women's division right now in the WWE, in my opinion, is overrated. Like if you watch their matches, they are tiptoe matches. They are spot matches. They are not fluent, like no matter what. And if you really watch like Bianca Belair wrestle, and this might be a little controversial, but if you watch Bianca Belair wrestle, she is very robotic. She's like, I need to be at this spot at this time. And if you're not at that spot with her, she waits for you to get to that spot. Yeah,
it's a pacing issue. I've noticed that.
Yeah. And
everyone.
I see, and it's everyone. You know, the men's roster, better. Matches are the same.
Yeah.
They don't really do anything different. The talent does the same stuff. But with the women, very robotic. So I think as a whole right now, the whole WWE women's division is very overrated. And I think it really needs to be looked at. And those people really need to go to work because it's bad.
Yeah,
right now, it's just bad. Another underrated person I think is Chad Gable. I am a fan of Chad Gable. And the thing is, if Kurt Angle never existed, Chad Gable would be our Kurt Angle.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think Chad suffered from Jason Jordan not going over very well. And then they gave him that stupid storyline. I don't know who the hell they had writing at that time, trying to make him related to Kurt. Why wouldn't they just do that with Chad? Because, I mean, well, first of all, he's white, so it makes more sense. And then two of all, I guess they were just trying to do that because they knew Chad was already interesting and they were trying to spice up Jason's character a little bit. But I hear he's a producer now for WWE or something like that. He works backstage. Did you have any overrateds?
Well, besides the entire women's division, that kind of covers them. But as far as men's division, I think Drew McIntyre is overrated. I think Drew McIntyre is another one of those robotic wrestlers. I think he's another one of those people that he's just not in his lane right now.
It's definitely a hot take.
And if you Drew McIntyre needs to turn heel right now. And if he doesn't, I think it's going to go bad for him. I cannot get into the big man goofy gimmick.
Right.
I just can't do it. He has the look for a heel. He needs to go back to the black coat and he needs to start pissing people off again. Because right now it's not getting it. And I think they keep trying to push him, putting him with different people. And right now I just don't think it's working for Drew.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Just to add a little more before we move on to Brian, with the women's division, I've felt like for a while that there's been kind of like a divide between good talent and then the ones that get the 2-3 minute matches. And I just don't think they get worked enough to tweak what they're doing. Because you do have some good people in the women's division. Even Bianca, but it's a pacing problem. Both people in the match have to be good. Otherwise, you're gonna have those times where I know exactly what you're talking about, like where she's facing away on the corner turnbuckle, she does the butt thing. And then they take too long to get to her. So there's just like that awkward, that waiting time. I actually noticed that in one of the AEW matches on the pay-per-view too, but we'll dive more into that later. Brian,
if you pay attention, sorry to interrupt you, but if you pay attention to Bianca in the ring, you can hear her now with like the amplified sound they have in the ring where you can actually hear them speaking. You can actually hear her like guiding her opponent and telling them where to go.
Yeah, calling
it completely ruins the match.
I definitely agree with that. Someone in the comments agrees too. But yeah, Brian, what do you got for us, man?
Real quick, Ben, is that Goldberg figure by you anywhere?
Yeah. Let me grab.
All right, underrated. Ricochet.
I agree.
That guy is phenomenal. Puts people over like crazy. I mean, he's won a U.S. championship. He's won Intercontinental championships, but he's come so close to that next level, and for whatever reason they're just not giving it to him. Most overrated is Goldberg.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. Come at me if you want, but he's most overrated. You talk about a guy with a limited moveset. I don't think he's wrestled anything more than 10, 15 minutes, maybe.
Yeah, because even the Halloween Havoc match with DDP was like 15.
He obviously, pretty much ended Bret Hart's career. I know he's done that to other people too. Goldberg is the most overrated.
I feel like we bring that up almost every week now. It's fucking hilarious that we talk about that every week.
So Ben, thank you for the prop.
Well, I definitely agree about Ricochet, and I agree about Goldberg too. He is overrated. Ben, what you got, man? And I actually have picks for Kev too. So I'll go over those after you get done.
Okay, well, I got several, but I'm gonna try to rush through those. I'm gonna do underrated. Kyle took one of mine. Victoria was the first one that I thought of. Why is she not in the Hall of Fame yet? I don't know why, but like I said, another great talent right here. Bull Nakano, so underrated. Back during that time when the women's division was not really even known for it, back in the early 90s in WWF, this woman's terrifying, and this woman's a badass. And of course, she's from Japan, so the U.S. didn't get a lot of coverage of her. But with her and Medusa, those great battles, and then now when I'm back to watching the WCW Nitros, where WCW was using using like the New Japan and doing that cross promotion. Bull Nakano was in those tag matches, and she was beating those girls up pretty bad. And like I said, this is another one that should be in the Hall of Fame. Like I said, those are two of the female talents. As for underrated, then for the men, Chris Candido, no gimmicks needed. That man gets shitted on. No one talks about him. That dude would have been like right now. He'd have been multiple champions. It's just what sucks is he died at early age. He was married to with Sonny. Like I said, great matches, great promos in ECW. Like I said, that man would have been like him and Owen Hart would have been like, that's kind of what it compares. Those two guys right there would have been elevated and would have been champions. Those, like I said, that's one. As for Impact TNA, Matt Morgan, the Blueprint. Like I said, he was
I like
7
Morgan.
foot tall, and they gave him just a little push, and then that's the time when Hogan and all Bischoff joined, and then they kind of just wiped him away, and they started promoting Hardy, the same older talent. It's like that guy should have been a champion. So there's one. Bobby Roode during that time, but then in those are probably the ones that stand out to me as underrated. Like that does not get a lot of headlines that should be either Hall of Fame, should have been more of a champions, more of a run. And then so I had ECW TNA, I had some of the women, but then now for overrated. As for overrated, I know we talked about him earlier, but I think Dolph Ziggler is overrated. I'm not a fan of Dolph Ziggler. I think he tries to sell out. He uses that, he's been a world champion, but that was kind of one that shouldn't have been a world champion. Alberto Del Rio, another overrated. They used, where he's from the the Mexican champion. So he was one of the first Mexican. But the dude had baggage. His matches sucked. He was terrible. Promos. You couldn't really understand him. It was awful. If he had been with a better manager, it might have been a little bit different. I know they tried to use the Zeb Coulter there, but that I wasn't feeling that. And then those were probably the two that stand out in my mind as the most overrated, overrated talents. But
so in regards to Ziggler, he's the only dude I know of that's ever ran up the ladder in a ladder match. So I kind of think that's cool. And then as far as Candido goes, I agree with you on that. And I think Mick Foley is the only person I've ever heard praise Chris Candido.
Yeah. He was big. Like I said, he was big around here. Of course, Smoky Mountain Wrestling, which now became ECW. He was the champion there. A lot of great stars come out of that area. Primetime Brian Lee, who was the fake Undertaker, it came, during that time. You had Kane as the Unabomber, Al Snow. Granted, Al Snow's not the greatest, but like I said, during this area, you had New Jack, you had Rock and Roll Express, but Chris Candido, or Jericho and Lance Storm, but Chris Candido during that time does not get a lot of credit because he was in a smaller territories. Then he went to ECW, and pretty much all they really knew him for was, his significant other was Sonny. And the guy was great on promos, a great wrestler. Like I said, should have been multi-champions, and just kind of, didn't go that way.
Yeah. Jason in the comments, he said Bliss is overrated, Candido is underrated. I agree with Bliss. I'm a huge mark for Bliss, though, so that's all I'm going to say about her.
The one I'm kind of right now in between, which I like her and I love, but I can't really say she's overrated or underrated yet because we don't know, is Jade Cargill. She's undefeated right now. Some people say she's overrated, but what I read today on Facebook that Daniel Bryan mentioned what would be great for her career is to go to Japan. She just already talked about, wanting to do the travel. He said, go to Japan for 3 months and she will be totally changed. She'll be a better wrestler. If she goes there, I think she'd dominate. I'd love to see her face Sasha Banks or Mercedes Moné and do some damage. But like I said, I like Jade Cargill, but yeah, right now just pushing her as she's undefeated. But
is that she in NXT?
No, she's AEW. She is
AEW, okay.
She is the TBS champion. Is That Bitch Show champion.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, because I watched the pay-per-view, which we'll get into here in just a little bit. But I only got to see, a couple. I think there was only one women's match. It was the triple threat for the one belt. But yeah, that's cool. I'll have to start watching AEW more. Did you watch it last night?
I did not. I struggled. I didn't watch the pay-per-view, but I haven't. Like I said, I've seen some previews and clips. Like I said, I already know kind of what happened, but yeah, usually they have great pay-per-views, but it's just like WWE. They have the great pay-per-view or a excited pay-per-view, then the following next show is just poop. Yeah, it's terrible. and it's
unless
like,
it's WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like we're all pumped up for WrestleMania coming up, and then now watch the after show. It's probably just gonna be like, all right, DVR in it, watching something else.
I'm gonna watch. I think I'm gonna download Rampage. Well, I'm not. I'm gonna legally download Rampage just for the record there, and check it out. See what's good. Who was that? Jason said women's division is horrible in AEW. That's a hot take. We'll get more into that in a little bit. So Kev had a couple, and then also you were talking about Victoria earlier. I didn't want to cut you off, but you know, I really feel like back then she's the only one that could have had a good rivalry with China, and like actually you would have went into it and been like, you know what, China can actually work with her, you know, because they were both, you know, big ladies.
Well, her and I think also too another one, Beth Phoenix would have been a good one to run with all three of those.
By the way, I got that 8x10 and I like it. I look at it multiple times a week. Nah, I'm just kidding. But I do like it though. So Kev, he says that Paul Roma is underrated. And I saw a video recently how he buried this dude on WCW. There's a YouTuber called Wrestling Bios that makes really good mini docs on wrestling. And so I don't know if I feel that way about Paul Roma just because of how he acted in that one match. But then again, everybody has a bad day sometimes. So maybe Paul Roma was underrated. I don't have enough experience to say otherwise. Maybe you guys can give more intake on that.
Yeah. See, he's still before my time, and that's the one we had the hot take where I still don't feel like he should have been a horseman. And that's right. I know I'm probably going to get heat over that, but he's on the bottom of my list as a horseman. Granted, great athlete. He could talk, but it's like I said, as for in my mind, what stands out, I don't really remember him, and that's why I had him on the bottom.
Gotcha. Yeah. I just don't know enough about him. I mean, I've only seen a little bit, but maybe Kev, we can touch on that next week.
That's one of Kev's favorites. So
yeah. I know. He's either watching now or he's gonna watch this later. He's gonna watch this later, and then in our little group chat we have, he's gonna flip the fuck out.
Yeah,
he'll be like, Paul Roma's the man. You shut your mouth. Edge is pissed, and Paul Roma is awesome. But then for overrated, I know you guys probably agree with this. Maybe he said Braun Strowman is overrated.
Yeah, I can see
and
that.
You know, I can't hate on Braun because he's from Cheryl's Ford, which is about 25 minutes from where I live, and you know, so he's like a hometown hero kind of. But you know, back when he was tipping ambulances and shit like that, that was cool. But nowadays, it's just kind of like, meh. I hope that him and Ricochet stay as a tag team for a while because I still feel like the tag teams right now need more good tag teams. You know, speaking of which, we'll be getting to that in a minute, talking about tag teams. But yeah, that's all that Kev had. And then Will didn't actually drop any overrated or underrateds for us.
I got two more. I always try to. It pops in my head that we're not talking about these guys too. Does you remember some of the?
I agree with you, James. James in the comments says Sasha Banks is the epitome, or is it epitome?
It's the epitome.
Epitome?
Yep.
Okay. I always get that screwed up of overrated.
Another one that is underrated is Dustin Rhodes. Why has he not been world heavyweight champion? This guy has done all these gimmicks. Of course, you know, he's following in his father's footsteps, which is always a tough thing to do. But another great talent that has not, got what he deserves. Like he deserves to be world heavyweight champion. Him. And then the one that gets kind of thrown out of that four out of the Radicals is Perry Saturn. He was a great tag team in the Eliminators. And with him, it's another one, like I said, because he got pushed out by Malenko, Benoit, and Eddie Guerrero when they came over for that jump. And then they gave him a stupid-ass gimmick with a mop. I'm like, Come on now. Like I said, those two were great, great wrestlers, great performers. And he's the one that snapped on that guy on a Sunday Night Heat. It was just a jobber. He was facing Perry Saturn, and Perry Saturn went off on him because the guy messed up a move or messed up something.
You talking about when that was when Terry had to like calm him down, right? Or tell him.
Yeah, they had like pretty much stop him because he was ready to beat the hell out of that guy, and like he just beat that guy in the matter of not even a few minutes, and then it was over. And like I said, you go back, I think it's on YouTube here, and you can check that match out. And like you said, he just beats the crap out of that guy. But
yeah, I've seen that. Unrated. I think the reason, if I recall correctly, because I saw a video recently on that Perry Saturn thing, the jobber wanted to do some more stuff.
That's right.
To kind of like make himself look a little bit better, and Perry wasn't having any of that shit, but the dude tried to do it anyways. And that's when he, gave him the APA treatment and just stiffed him for like the rest of the match until Terry calmed him down. But yeah, those are great picks.
Is there any other comments, I guess, from the members or people watching saying
Jason said Dustin's still running circles around the young guys, and I agree. Yep. And you want to talk about, okay, I don't know what Vince's problem is because it was his responsibility back then. He gave Dustin some terrible, terrible gimmicks to run with, like the whole baby thing with Luna, and then the dominatrix shit. He really, the Rhodes, Cody too had bad gimmicks. Not to the severity of Dustin, but then again, it was a different era, so. They were looking for those cartoony, silly kind of, characters back then.
Don't forget about when he was in WCW, he was 7.
Yeah.
He went off on that one.
Yeah, he did.
What was he in TNA? He was like, it's almost the same gimmick too. I can't
remember, but either way, man, Dustin and Cody, man, they've had some rough times. Mm-hmm. So I have a lot of respect for that family in general. I mean, they get disrespected a lot, and it's not cool. Because I had actually forgotten about all that, and then like the Saturn with the mop thing, I loved that as a kid. But yeah, it is kind of embarrassing, for like a big meathead like Perry Saturn to be coming out there doing that.
But I also in with a mop.
I always felt that way about Mark Henry's sexual chocolate thing too, but he actually. I think he enjoyed doing that, which is cool. So, Jason says that he had a pet rat in TNA.
Yeah, that was the Dustin, but I can't think of the name. Was it Malik or something? I forgot what it was called.
Someone said Black Rain.
Black Rain. There you go. Black Rain. Yes.
Yeah, Jason said that.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know anything about that, but all the clips I've ever seen about TNA has actually been really sweet. So maybe WWE would buy that, and then I could watch all that too. Nah, I doubt it. But yeah, I guess that concludes everything for overrated, underrated. Next, we'll move into our Mount Rushmores for our tag teams, our best tag team picks. Now, Will and Kev aren't here, but I still have their tag team picks. So we will go in ABC order here because that's just how it's set up already. Let me go ahead and pull it up. Starting off with Ben here. So Ben's Rushmore here for tag teams.
Damn.
Couple good choices there. Ben, you want to go ahead and take it away?
Yes. Of course, leading off, got close up to Steven.
My bad. I screwed that up. Sorry about that.
I was not saying me and Williams tag team chance.
I mean, it was a mistake.
That's all right. Got first one, Legion of Doom, the Road Warriors. Matter of fact, even representing them. Oh, what a rush! My favorite of all time. Those guys have done it everywhere. Such as NWA, WCW, WWF. Of course, going over to Japan. Of course, like I said, it's such a tragic. Those guys are not around still. like I said, very likable characters with the face paint, the spikes, just a lot of energy. Like I said, great guys. Like I said, I just wish, unfortunately, Hawk had his demons, and it's part of life. And like I said, I wish they're all still around. But great guys, great tag team. Has beat everybody during the time when tag teams was on top of the world. Like I said, held the championships numerous times. Then we're going to go into my second one, which is the Dudley Boys, which is almost like was a modern day version of the Road Warriors, where they've kind of won everywhere they went to, such as ECW, went into WWF or WWE at the time. Then they won those championships. Then they went to TNA and won those. Like I said, still could possibly do it. Then which right there, you look at some of these greatest tag teams. Bully Ray was a world heavyweight champion. Devon with them together were together as a great tag team. But then right here we got the Steiner brothers, another one. Like I said, we're famous, done it everywhere as well. Steiners, right now just got inducted to the Hall of Fame. Last year or 2 years ago, deserved to be in a lot longer or sooner. And the Steiners were on top of the world, actual real wrestlers, wrestled for Michigan. And then they came to the entertainment side, kicked ass. And then both of them had great careers as singles, with Rick as the U.S. champ. And then you had Scott Steiner, the Big Bad Booty Daddy, as Big Papa Pump, winning the world title. And like I said, those are the top three. And then I cannot forget stuff I grew up that's actual real tag team wrestling, Rock and Roll Express. Both Ricky and Robert together is like magic. And watching those guys, they're to me, what tag team wrestling is Rock and Roll Express. The guys are still doing it today. I know they were on their supposedly farewell tour. They're still doing some conventions together, but those guys right there are great. And that's my 4. Then my honorable mentions, I sent 2 into Steve, which was Harlem Heat. They don't get enough credit as they deserve. Of course, another one was world heavyweight champion was Booker T. Booker T and his brother Stevie Ray are actual real brothers, and they're not from Harlem, New York, but they were from Texas. Great tag team. They're 10-time WCW champs. So that tells a lot. They get underrated. Plus had a great manager with Sensational or Sister Sherry. So Harlem Heat was a great tag team. And the next one, by chance, did you have the list? I get sidetracked.
I'll pull it up real quick. Yeah, I agree about the Harlem Heat, though. I mean, they were great. It was the music, man, that really did it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For me, I love the theme song.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Who doesn't want to come out and get some ass kicking going listening to that?
Yeah, and then you had the Flames. The outfits was cool. Of course, they had the controversial promos. So,
yep, that's true. Definitely true. Midnight Express was the other one.
Midnight Express. Thank you. Another one that deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Midnight Express. Beautiful Bobby Eaton and Stan Lane with Jim Cornette. Like I said, the rivals right there to Rock and Roll Express, the early, 80s. Those were tag team wrestling at its finest in the early 80s there. Rock and Roll Express versus Midnight Express, the good versus evil. Those are my 2 honorable mentions, but there's my 4 Mount Rushmore for tag teams.
Absolutely. Yeah, good picks too, man. There's
Thanks.
a lot of good honorable mentions and picks in the comments as well. We'll keep going though. So I think next we have Brian's.
Nice.
So those are in no particular order. But number
Right,
1 would be Legion of Doom / Road Warriors. Obviously, a lot of the same stuff that Ben said. They to me growing up as a kid, seeing the Road Warriors, Legion of Doom wearing the face paint, the shoulder pads, the spikes, and their finishing move was awesome. The Doomsday Device. I mean, come on, man. Second would be the Dudley Boys again. They won wherever they went. Bubba Ray is still obviously wrestling to this day. Third would be the Hart Foundation. And then fourth would be the Hardy Boys. Obviously, the Hardy Boys and Dudley's had some awesome matches, and well, Edge and Christian as well. And again, as a kid growing up watching that stuff,
Oh yeah.
So I don't have any honorable mentions. I didn't know we were doing any. So
it's optional.
My honorable mention will be the Tuesday night tag team champs, Ben and Ben William.
Thank you.
Ben and William.
Yeah, that's all I have.
We'll kick some ass on Tuesdays.
Oh man, I think Will and someone else in the comments are cutting promos on one another. But no, yeah, this is a good pick. Good set of dudes, if you will. Dudley Boys, another one with a great theme song. That shit's been stuck in my head ever since you guys sent me your Rushmores. I've been doing a beer, boom boom dar, boom 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 dar. With the 3D as well. So yeah, great picks for sure. All right, let's so Kev's not here, but as you can see, Legion of Doom is on here again. We've got Demolition and the Midnight Express and the Rock and Roll Express. So I got everybody. I got them all right? Yeah, that's the Rock and Roll and the Midnight. Yes. Yeah. I had to clarify with him too. I was like, you mean the new Midnight Express or the originals? And he's like, dude, he didn't say it, but I could tell when I asked him that question, he probably read that on his phone and he was like, dude.
Yeah, you got to go beautiful Bobby Eaton and Stan Lane. It can't be I never forgot his first. The originals, because those to me, that's Midnight Express.
And I didn't even intentionally do it this way, but all four of those picks, they all have their belts, so that just goes to show you that those are, phenomenal tag teams that got the recognition they deserved. All right, next up we've got Cal.
Okay, so first I have the Wild Samoans. I've always liked watching them wrestle. Obviously, they weren't during my time, so I've had to go back and kind of study them. But I mean, between all of it, I mean, they have 21 tag team championships from all over the world, right? And I truly believe that without the Wild Samoans, that you don't have the Rocky Johnson and the Tony Atlas, you don't have Rikishi, and you don't have the Usos now. And I'm a huge fan of the Anawahi family. So they're no doubt probably the top group here for me. Dudley Boys, we've all talked about them. Dudley Boys and Team Extreme, I'll just talk about them together. But the bumps that these guys took in the 2000s. I mean, the matches that were created, the longevity of those matches through WWE today. I mean, those two teams really changed the game for tag team wrestling for the modern era. The Dudley Boys, just like real quick story, but I was probably in 3rd or 4th grade. Dad picks me up from school, takes me down to Louisville, Kentucky, blackout match. And it is Stone Cold Steve Austin, Ric Flair versus the Dudley Boys. And we're front row. And I am freaking out. Like, I am on my chair, the 3Ds. I'm a huge Dudley Boys fan. And Bubba is up on the top rope after the win. And it was a tables match. And at some point in the match, he had smacked Stone Cold Steve Austin in the head with a trash can lid. And I was front row, losing my mind. He jumps down out of the ring and actually hands me that trash can lid and gives me a fist bump and rolls out.
Nice.
So I've always liked the Dudley Boys. The Hardy Boys, it's another one of those teams that took some hard bumps, created a lot of matches. It's a shame that Jeff has gone down the roads that he's gone so many times, because I think that they could still be together today doing things. Maybe not in the WWE, but I think they could definitely still be making wonderful matches. And then I have the New Day on here simply because of the longevity of what they've done in modern wrestling. When I look at those three, I'm not a big fan of them separate. Going back to our overrated, underrated, I think individually they're overrated, but together I think they make great storylines. They've held numerous amounts of tag team titles. They're Triple Crown champions, and I think they are still a leader in today's modern wrestling tag team division. And I think once the bloodline starts to dissipate and people actually start competing for these titles for real, I think they're going to be back in the groove of things.
I couldn't have said it any better for as far as the New Day goes. You know, they're not only are they great performers, but they're great entertainers, and you can tell that they have a lot of fun when they work together. And you know, when they're split up, you know, they don't want to do that. You can tell just in the chemistry that they put off when they're solo fighting. So definitely agree about that. You had some good picks, man. Got to see some new faces on the screen. I know we had Demolition with Kev, but I believe Demolition is coming up again in a little bit here. So spoilers. Well, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and we'll go to the next one. So this is mine, and you'll notice it's all Attitude Era guys. So growing up through the Attitude Era and watching tag team wrestling was, I guess, why I find it so disappointing to watch tag teams now, because it doesn't live up to the bar that was set by these 4 teams right here. Dudley's, of course, you got your insane, you know, power bombing old ladies through tables. I mean, come on. And then staring like a crazy man into the camera. Absolutely love it. Then you got the Showman with the New Age Outlaws, which as individual competitors didn't work very well. And when thrown together and then put with DX, they're fire. You know what I'm saying? Just straight fire. And I know they don't get a lot of credit for their work in the ring, but they're badass, man. They're great wrestlers, and they deserve all the recognition that they get. And also, they're really cool dudes. You know, any documentary that they, you know, talk about stuff in, it's sweet. And I actually got to meet Billy Gunn a couple years ago, and I was actually starstruck to meet him because he's the ass man. You know what I'm saying? Hell, even when he teamed up with Billy and Chuck, it was still fun. Edge and Christian, of course, you've got to include them because not only as a tag team, but whenever they had to work against each other in that rivalry that happened, I believe they had a ladder match at No Mercy 2001. I used to have that DVD, and I would watch that match almost every day because it's just so good. But then, you know, with the Hardy Boys, you've got the legendary tag team matches that they put on with Edge and Christian and the Dudleys. That was so good they had to do it again at SummerSlam because, you know, I believe the first one was at Mania, and then they did it again at SummerSlam, or maybe it was the other way around. But these guys are the only reason that I gave a shit about tag team wrestling, you know, because when you're a little kid, you're like Stone Cold, or, you know, The Rock. But then, like, you see these guys come out and you're like, all right, this is going to be really good. This is going to be some good stuff. So that's why I picked those 4 teams to be in my my Rushmore.
Nice. And then, like I said, it brings me back. I saw some of the comments that some of the ones as of today, FTR, I feel like FTR is today's, you know, tag team right now of this generation. They've held the belts everywhere. Glad to see them back on AEW. Then also I saw the Eliminators, you know, back in the day with ECW with Coronas and Saturn. Those were great. Like I said, they held the tag. They beat the Dudleys back then, like I said, right when the Dudleys and them were having great rivals. But yeah, I totally agree. The tables, ladders, and chairs matches were excellent. Like I said, those during that, you know, like that during that time frame of the Attitude Era, tag team matches were dead. Tag team division was dead. And then those 6 gentlemen brought it out and, like I said, had some pretty, you know, badass matches. I'm right there with you, Steven. I'm a New Age Outlaw fan too. That just hearing that, you know, their song coming out, you knew, you didn't know, you better call somebody. That stands out in my mind. But now I'm starting to see in tag teams, it's finally going, you know, it's getting back to, they're bringing the tag team division back. I wish WWE would do it more. I feel like AEW's starting to go that route. But too, we need to see more mixtures of, pushing other tag teams instead of leaving the same two teams facing each other for months or a year. Switch it up. I know we don't have to switch the belts all the time, but switch it up, have different rivals. I'm loving how they did the House of Black. I know we're going to talk about it here soon, but like I said, now they made it into a trios titles. But I wish, like I said, I feel like tag team division is starting to still, gain momentum right now in today's wrestling.
Yeah, no, it's definitely moving in the right direction. In regards to WWE, it's just a slow build because the Usos, fucking awesome. New Day, Judgment Day, could run tags as well. Stables in general, the Hurt Business, as soon as that starts getting full motion again, it's kind of getting there. You'll have more tag teams there as well. And then Otis and Gable, I don't think they're going to split even if Otis becomes a model or whatever. So I think they're a great tag team. Someone had mentioned in a comment earlier, Benjamin and Haas. That would have been a good honorable mention to put up because, both of those guys are phenomenal as well. But yeah, speaking of Road Dogg, I had his autograph above my bed, so if that tells you anything, when he used to do the shake, rattle, and roll, man, that's when you knew you were going to have yourself a good time. And then we've got Will's Rushmore here. He's not here with us, so I'm going to speak on his behalf. So, you got the Outsiders, Scott Hall, Razor Ramon is, they're great. And, Bret Hart, I love Bret Hart, and, Jim Neidhart's pretty cool. And Legion of Doom is pretty sweet, and Demolition. Yeah.
That was very creepy.
Yeah, he doesn't sound like that at all. But
No.
yeah, no. So the Outsiders, come on, Razor or Scott Hall, one of the goats at promos, especially like whenever they first made it into the WCW, they were the Outsiders temporarily until NWO kind of kicked off, and basically WCW became the NWO show for like 2 years almost.
Yep.
So, credibility has to go to those two guys. Not only that, but they had the moves to back it up. Then Jim Neidhart and Bret, they're great performers. They come from, the dungeon, great workers. Jim, I think, doesn't get enough credit because he's outshined by Bret a little bit. But he was, great even when they tried to work him as a singles competitor after everybody left. They didn't put him with the Bulldog or Owen. And then, a whole segment where he was gonna join DX, but then they really just they played his ass. But yeah, he's great, man. And I love Jim Neidhart in general because if it wasn't for Jim, there'd be no Natalya, and it would just be a sad world if Natalya
Or his sister too.
Yeah, Jenny.
Yes.
Yeah, she's good too. Legion of Doom. So I know you guys have touched on them already, but I saw my fair share of matches towards the second half of their careers through Attitude and early Ruthless Aggression because they would make returns, and they're awesome. I really think once they put them with Sonny as like the manager or whatever, that really helped them a lot. As far as getting more eyeballs looking in their direction, that because that's pretty much what Sonny was good for. But yeah, you talk about as soon as you hear that water rush, I can't do it, but you knew some shit was about to go down when you heard that. And then Demolition was a little bit before my time. I've seen a few of their matches through my WrestleMania rewatches, and they definitely seem like they would be worthy of a Mount Rushmore spot. So kudos to my brother Will.
They deserve to be in the Hall of Fame too. Right now, they're still, especially as many gimmicks as those gentlemen had. You got the Repo Man, you got the black shoot, I just forgot it. The Bully, and then you had the Mongol, the Masked Superstar, Blacktop Bully. Then you had you had all kinds of different gimmicks. This, the Super Machine. So a lot of them, good gimmicks. And then of course Jake Rabbit in the No Holds Bar movie. Like I said, Demolition is probably an underrated. That should be, in the Hall of Fame, and that was in our early segment. They're also underrated, and they deserve to be more recognized. And then another one I forgot to totally mention, my favorite of all time, the Mega Powers. We totally forgot, even though it was a short run.
It was short, but it was
short. And then we had a comment earlier. I think somebody mentioned either during one of the podcasts or during our shows about, well, they weren't a tag team for too long. Yes, they weren't. But in WCW, I just watched the episode on Super Brawl. They did mention the Mega Powers. So they were mentioned as the Mega Powers on WCW as well.
Okay, cool. Yeah, Brandon had put in the comments, he was asking where Will was. Will is traveling for an expo right now, but he's actually here in the comments talking. So he is here. He just he wouldn't have strong enough connection to put on a presentable, so he had to sit this week out. That's why.
Well, we have
kicked
one
him
here.
out.
Your impersonation of him was spot on. So.
Yeah, that's what somebody else was saying in the comments too.
My opinion, don't do it again. It's creepy.
I just saw him yesterday. He stopped by. He did a little pit stop here in North Carolina on the way up to, I believe it's Ohio, Chippewa or something like that. Chillicothe. That's right. Yeah. So yeah, they stopped in and so I got to see him in person, which now that we do this all the time, it's not as big of a deal compared to how it used to be, but I still appreciate seeing in the flesh. And then someone else had mentioned I had him until I said Sonny got LAD over or Legion of Doom over. I didn't mean it like that. What I meant was when I was a kid, I cared more about Legion of Doom because they had Sonny with them. That's what I meant. I didn't mean to say that she got him over. Got him over with me. But yeah, so next up, if we're all done with tag teams, anybody got anything else they want to add before we roll into it? This is going to be Will's favorite segment here. AEW Revolution discussion and recap. Ben, how do you feel about that? Or Brian?
I'm out. I don't watch AEW.
Oh, I'm sorry, man. Yeah, I definitely want to talk about
all
it.
The way, baby.
I understand. I had to tune in. I had to check it out. So I'll go ahead and tell you what I thought. So what was there, like 6 matches on this card? I thought 3 of them was really good. Mm-hmm. The other 3 I could have done without. So the ones that I thought were good, excuse me. The Final Barrel match, that was great. That was with Jungle Boy and I already forgot who did he face? Christian. That's right. Christian Cage. That was a really good match. Like whenever he was smacking him with the belt and stuff, I was like, damn, that was the opening match too, if I'm not mistaken. What did you think about that?
I love the rival. Like I said, Christian right now is a perfect heel in the business. He said some controversial things, but I mean, I know I'm sure Jungle Boy has some agreement in there for what he said. Of course, he's making fun of Luke Perry. Luke Perry's no longer with us. So I'm still, but the conversation I was spot on last week with the Christian. I like today's generation is more of like video game wrestlers. They're more like they want, the video type. They're not the real, the athletes to beat the hell out of each other. Go out there and do your own promos, do your stuff. It's not scripted. It's not, right there with writers in your ears or writers telling you what to do or trying to remember a damn move. Go out there, listen to the crowd, and I agree with Christian. It's like today's generation is the same old shit, the same old moves. It's the same super kicks here, there, same spots. He told them it's more of a video game generation compared to back when he grew up, which we talked about it just earlier with that tag team of the Attitude Errors. Those guys put on matches you can remember. And I'm not knocking them. I love the AEW. I love their tag, but with Christian on that hit, that's a good heel spot. He didn't have to go out there and cuss like MJF and say effing this and cussing like he did what he said. And like I said, that's a good promo. And then it makes you want to like almost hate him. Like he's that bad of a guy, but he did it, the right way. And then him like pushing Jungle Boy, because Jungle Boy's another young athlete. It is an original AEW talent. And with them pushing that, and it kind of gets now a rub with Jungle Boy with Christian, because Christian is a name, and it helps Jungle Boy elevate his. But overall, I thought it was an okay match. I mean,
it wasn't the best by far.
Yeah.
But it was still good. It had a lot of really cool spots and hard hitting stuff. But speaking about Christian talking about Luke Perry and stuff, it's pretty prevalent that AEW doesn't give a damn if they get bad press on something they said or done.
And two, is it really they're going out there just fire blazing, or if it's just hey, I'm coming to you as a person. Hey, I'm gonna make some comments. Is it gonna offend you? Was it okay? I bet you there's something behind the scenes that they're agreed to. That hey, I'm gonna go out here and talk about your father's no longer alive. I'm sure there's some agreement. But in like MJF too, all that too is a hose. It's a work. They're almost like the New Japan. They're in the press conferences. Is at the end of the pay-per-view, they're going to do a press conference, and then they're going to have somebody to continue to talk about the press conference, and which could light over some of the shitty matches. So it gives the people something to talk about afterwards too.
For sure. And you know what? I think it's because the fan expectation with AEW is pushing the envelope in general too, because if they did something like that in WWE, you'd hear about it for a month. People be talking about it like, I can't believe they said that, can't believe they said that. Yet they'd be like, WWE's PG here, it sucks, blah, blah, blah. But like if they did something like that, you'd bitch about it for a month. That's why they keep it PG, you know what I mean?
As a fan, I loved it when Bailey brought that comment to Becky Lynch and said, hey, about, not satisfying or pleasing your man, or it's not what he said, or something like stuff like that. I was like, ooh, it draws me in. I'd rather see the heat and the little, back and forth exchange in the words. Yeah.
Yeah, they're definitely pushing the envelope more. That's why I said last week it's not the Attitude Era anymore with WWE, because they are trying to be a little more lenient. But then again, you got wrestlers making, doing Make-A-Wish and stuff. So you can't just walk out there and be like, fuck you, I'm going to kick your ass, because that's just not how the show flows in WWE anymore. At least that's my opinion. So moving on, I don't want to spend too much more time on AEW because, Kyle, did you watch AEW or are you all WWE too?
I do watch AEW, but I did not watch the pay-per-view.
Okay. All right, cool.
I still can't pull myself to spend $50 on an AEW pay-per-view. I just can't.
I'd use the free links, and I try my best to watch.
That's how I think I got Facebook hacked.
Yeah. The free
links.
I gotta hook you brothers up with some safe alternatives. I know that
got me hacked. Wasn't no
I know.
I did hear it was brutal though. I heard there were some matches and there were some people took some hard bumps and.
Yeah, so the next one I'm bringing up is exactly that's it. That was actually the only description I put for this next one. So Hangman Adam Page versus John Moxley in Texas Death Match, I think is what it's called. It's one of the brutalest matches that I've seen in like 15 years. Like I know that John comes from CZW, and anyone that's not familiar with what that is, it's basically backyard wrestling to the most extreme that it could be. And this match is almost as bad in the sense of how dangerous and hardcore that they were willing to get. I couldn't even believe some of the spots in that match. I don't know if it's because I'm older or what, but I was like, nah, don't show me that. No, it's horrible. And they beat the shit out of each other. Like they're gonna be on R&R for like a month.
Isn't it crazy though? Like when you're watching that stuff, and like being a WWE fan, being immersed in that, like, oh man, we want them to be more hardcore. We want them to do this. We want them to do that. And then you have people actually on screen now, which back in the Attitude Era was, we watched people fall 30 feet into 5 tables and not think twice about it. But now we're like, I don't know if I want to see somebody do that to somebody.
Yeah.
But yet we still want it.
James G in the comments, man, he said all they were missing was light poles. I was watching that match. I was waiting for them to pull out those fluorescent lights, from retail stores and bust them over each other's heads. Yeah. I won't dive too much into the details in that match, but there's a lot of barbed wire. There's a lot of hard smashes on the barbed wire. There's shredding flesh with barbed wire.
Yeah, but that's not real barbed wire. If it was real barbed wire, they'd be cut up a lot. They'd be bleeding. That stuff that it's like the stuff that it's not. Like, go back and watch some of the Japan death matches. Those are actual real barbed wire. Like today's stuff, it's to me, it's not entertaining. I tried to watch the game-changing wrestling. I don't want to see the old hardcore. I loved ECW. Don't get me wrong. I loved ECW. I'm still an ECW fan. But today, they're just doing too much of it. It's something now. We're seeing it all the time. Back then, it was totally different. You got to see it every now and then. Now today, it's like every damn paper. And then John Moxley's got to get bleeding all the time. That's too much too. Does he got a weak forehead? Has he got? I know he's cut himself, but really, why do you got to bleed? You don't have to bleed. And
it was the moment where he stabbed Adam Page in the face with the fork like 10 times. He actually cut him open with that fork. Yeah,
and it's stuff you don't. That's not wrestling. It's not wrestling. It's not really entertaining. It's silly, and these guys are shortening their careers, and then now they're going to be like made fun of as like a I go back and think of that promo of Ric Flair telling Mick Foley he's a glorified stuntman. I love Mick Foley, but it was like, that's the stuff now you're going to think of John Moxley. Okay, he's a bleeder or he's a cutter. That's all you're going to think of. Yeah. It's like tarnishing his, legacy that he was a great champion, member of the Shield, and then now he's just a hardcore act.
Well, one more thing I'll say about that death match is it was entertaining as hell, and if I did pay $50 to watch a pay-per-view, I definitely got my money's worth watching that because it was wild. It was super entertaining, and I feel bad for those dudes. I almost felt like it got rough at some moments. I was thinking one of them is going to be like breaking character, like, dude, just stop, please. Just leave me the fuck alone. And then, of course, you had the Iron Man match as the main event with Bryan Danielson and John Moxley, or Jesus Christ, MJF. 1 hour. So when it comes to Iron Man matches, when you talk about an hour, I'm so glad they don't do that often in any promotion because those matches are really, they're too long. But I actually felt like it was really good, paced really well. Of course, MJF retained after sudden death. They were tied 3-3 and went into sudden death. It really felt like he should have lost. But then again, I get it. You want to keep the belt on the heel because, as we've discussed in previous episodes, once the face wins it, you just kind of lose all your momentum. Nobody wants to see you be the champion. They just want to see you try to get it.
But I still think the best match that we didn't talk about was the House of Black beating the Elite. House of Black deserved the titles. They won. Great match with those guys. And it could start up some of this rumors now of who's going to face MJF. I saw it could be Kenny. Or they mentioned that Kenny had rumors that he was listening to WWE contracts to maybe make the transition from AEW to WWE. There's a lot of questions there. But, the House of Black deserved it. And then for one of my favorite moments there was seeing FTR come back out. That's one of the greatest, some of the greatest talent they got in house, and they just kind of pushed him to the side. I know they were wrestling for other Ring of Honor and New Japan, but FTR, you need those to help with your division, and I'm glad to see those guys back. Hopefully, beat the Ass Boys, and now then that had my attention back on AEW because lately AEW has been kind of for me lately. and I've been wanting to, I've been getting back into WWE, but now with them coming back, and then I'm like, damn it, Tony Khan got me, and now I'm back into doing some AEW stuff.
Yeah, I was really surprised to see the Young Bucks take a loss at a pay-per-view. Really surprised. And, Kenny Omega is part of the Elite as well, so.
Yeah.
A lot of love for FTR in the comments tonight, man. I don't even know who that is. So
it's they used to be the Revival in NXT, WWE.
Oh, okay, yeah. So it's Scott Dawson.
Yep.
And what's the other guy's name?
Dax Harwood.
Yeah. But it was it Wheeler, Cash Wheeler, or Cash Wheeler and Dax Harwood? Yeah.
Hell yeah. Yeah, those are good wrestlers, man. They really dropped the ball getting rid of them in WWE.
Yeah.
But yeah, although overall, man, if I had to rate that pay-per-view out of 10, I'd say it was like a 7 out of 10. The other matches, like the women's title match, like Kyle was talking about earlier with WWE women's division, waiting for the spots, other people not being on time and stuff. I saw a lot of that in that match. So thankfully it was only like 10 or 15 minutes, but still, those are supposed to be your top women, and they're putting on these mediocre performances is no good. All right, now I know now everybody will be good to hear. We're moving on to SmackDown. Great promo between Cody and Roman. Roman doing a Dusty Rhodes impression. That was pretty cool. And actually pretty accurate, if I may say. Said some really, really offensive stuff as far as, like insulting Cody and, saying, have you won one of these, pointing at the belt on the ring and, really laying into him, and then saying some stuff like, your dad neglected you, didn't really pay much attention to you. He was more interested in other talent within the industry to help, kind of groom and everything. But, Roman reaches his hand out to shake it, and he says, anything your dad didn't teach, don't worry, I will, And then, Cody then went off on him. I thought that was a really good promo. I'm curious to see how they're going to do in the ring together. Hopefully Roman actually shows up to work that day. He's done it a few times in the past where he'll actually have a decent match that's longer than 15 minutes and has more than just a damn spear and a couple punches in it. I'd really like to see them bring the house down at Mania. This might actually be a WrestleMania match that Roman Reigns is involved in that I actually care to see.
So is he going to have more than 7 moves? I
hope so. I really hope so, man. Because, yeah, exactly, man. That's just Goldberg, man. Hey,
Well, why did we have Roman Reigns as overrated? But I think he's a great champion, but he's got 7 moves.
I'm on the fence with Roman, man. I like him. But I don't. Him. I definitely think since he had those hardcore promos with Cena a couple years ago, he's really improved ever since he came back and went on this whole run. So as an entertainer and invested in his story, I love Roman Reigns. And I like it when he actually has good matches, but, when he's just going in there and shitting them out, I know it's probably not up to him as far as like how he's, supposed to do every match, but I don't like it when it's just, a couple punches and spears. And then, Solo defeated Sammy in the main event. Everything else that happened on SmackDown was kind of, not really that significant. We're kind of going through that slump time of the year where, we're just kind of still pushing the Mania matches, and some of them are, come to fruition. I thought the Solo match was good. I've heard a rumor. I don't know if you guys have heard this or not, but Solo is supposed to stay undefeated, and then he's going to end up feuding with Roman later down the line. And then it's going to be like both of them are undefeated. Who's going to be the true tribal chief of the bloodline? I guess they went this route, or they're thinking about going that route because The Rock didn't get involved like they were anticipating he would for the Hollywood Mania. What do you guys think?
I heard rumors that they're going to give him a push, like Triple H is going to offer him a push, but I didn't hear about where he's probably going to challenge for the head of table. But he's still too young. He didn't win nothing in NXT. He just won that United States or whatever title there in NXT, and that's all he's won. No one really knows who he is. I think if you had to give it to somebody for a title, I'd give it to Cody, and because that's more of a name. But I still don't think Roman's going to lose it to Cody. But I don't see so they're pushing Solo that hard and that quick, but to beat Roman.
Well, there's all kinds of theories on.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of theories online. So I think Solo needs to win him some shoes before he'll win him a belt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, and if he wants to, compete with Roman Reigns, he better learn how to talk on the mic because he don't talk for nothing right now. He just is the enforcer. So
yeah, he's the muscle, even though he's like the smallest one.
I think it could be interesting if Solo won a title off somebody other than Roman.
Mm-hmm.
And then would refuse the match to Roman. I think that could be an interesting storyline to have Roman chasing after the younger brother of the Usos that's dodging him. I think that could be a fun storyline to follow.
And then I like that, Kyle. And then why don't they have him going for a singles title, like the Intercontinental title? You get to get help with that. But that'd be a hell of a match. Him and Walter, or
Gunther.
Yeah, that'd be a hell of a match for WrestleMania. Gunther versus Solo for the IC title. I think that'd be I would love to see it. But
you mean Brock Lesnar versus Omos isn't a great match for WrestleMania?
No.
They have completely butchered,
dude.
Brock
that's
Lesnar.
Gonna be
I still think there's hope for Omos, man. It's just not this month or next month.
But Ben, the only issue that I see with putting the Intercontinental title inside the Bloodline is I'm a Bloodline fan. I wear Roman's hat. Okay, I do. I like him. At the end of the day, though, you really got to look at the last 2 years and what this has done to business. Mm-hmm. There's nothing going on. Yeah. There's no real rivals. It's literally like, oh, hey, here's a little bit of a rivalry, and then it's like it doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't do anything.
Yeah, like every rivalry that Bray Wyatt has had.
Yeah, and they're super short. They're like 3-4 weeks, and then out of nowhere, those people are back to fighting again for another 2-3 weeks. So you put another title with them. I don't know what that does to the rest of the storylines in the company because it's already destroyed the tag team, the tag team division.
Yeah. Because they have to stay undefeated like Roman.
So
or at least that's how it feels,
I don't know. I personally think it's time for the Bloodline to drop titles and to start generating some real rivalries. Bring titles back if you need to, and then let people feud. But I don't know.
So it'd
be interesting.
I think instead of the Gunther thing, I think it'd be better to see Theory because there's no way John Cena is winning that title. I think John Cena is going to retire. That's his retirement match. He just hasn't said it yet. Because he put a tweet out being emotional about being on Monday Night Raw. So it really feels like he's already trying to come to terms with it closing out. And we just don't have an official statement about it yet. That might be the Monday after Mania.
I think he's just like me, come to terms why he's so sad and going bald. That's probably why he's sad. The big bald spot. Now, that was a hell of a promo. I know we're still on SmackDown, but Monday night, that promo of him and Austin Theory was classic.
Yeah, we can actually go ahead and move into that because, like I said, SmackDown wasn't too much, man. It was just, those two things. But yeah, Raw was actually really good. I watched most of it live, which is very rare for me. I typically watch it and skip through it. Of course, towards the end. We'll talk about the Cena and Theory thing. So that was a pretty good promo. I think that match is going to be make or break for for Theory against Cena. And obviously he's going over. But I just hope that him beating Cena doesn't have the same effect that Corbin beating Kurt Angle had. Because Corbin is just nobody gives a shit about him anymore.
Bum ass Corbin. Nope.
Which they were hinting at that. That's coming back. Yeah. That's coming back because they were talking about that in a segment on Raw, where he was talking about I've been down on my luck lately. I lost a lot of money in a poker game. My mentor abandoned me, so we're getting bum ass Corbin back, which is great. because that shit was awesome. I want to see him with like dirt on his face coming out to the ring and having a ripped shirt. When Corbin's sad, it makes everyone happy, not the other way around. And I think they figured that out. But other stuff that happened, Logan Paul was cutting promos like a pro. The crowd was giving him so much heat. Brian, you disagree?
With what?
With Logan Paul, because when I said he was cutting promos like a pro, it kind of looked like you were like, I don't know.
No, I thought he
did.
That.
Yeah, he did great, man. Because that crowd was they were like super pissed at him and they were hating him. Mm-hmm. He didn't look like he cared at all. He wasn't feeling any kind of nerves or pressure about it. So he's doing really well. I'm curious to see how any match with Seth Rollins is great. So him and Logan are going to have a phenomenal fight at WrestleMania. And I kind of wish The Miz was wrestling, man. I don't know why they made him the host. I guess they just didn't have anyone for him to go with. Also, I think it might have been SmackDown. I wanted to bring this up. Did y'all see when LA Knight was in the ring and Kofi and Xavier came out? So I got to find this clip and send it to you guys later. But like Kofi and Xavier were coming to the ring to cut a promo on LA Knight because LA was talking about he wants a match at WrestleMania. And they came out and they're like, you can't even win a match on SmackDown. Like, what makes you think that you can get one at Mania? And Kofi got down on his knees and kind of crawled to the ring with the mic. And he's like crying. He's like making fun of LA Knight. He's like, I need a match at WrestleMania. It's funny as hell. You're going to love it. You're going to love it when I send that to you. Yeah. The comments, some people saw that, said he was clowning him and it was funny as hell. It was. So I'm definitely going to send you all that clip. And then, of course, the end of Raw, Jay reunites with the Bloodline. Mm-hmm. Finally, makes you think that he's going to go with Sammy all the way up until like the last 2 or 3 minutes of the whole show, and then super kicks him on the ramp, and it gets all up in his face. He's like, you thought I was going to choose you over my own flesh and blood? Like, who were you? So I don't know, man. I don't know if he's going to, stay committed to that. I mean, they beat the hell out of Sammy after that, but I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on with this Bloodline storyline now. Do you guys think it's ending and then it's just going to be Cody Roman and that's it? Or do you think they'll really try to put KO or somebody with Sammy to go after the tag belts?
It's going to be a tag. It's going to be a tag match. Mm-hmm. I think the Usos are going to be the first ones to lose their belts, though. Mm-hmm. I don't know if Roman's going to. I agree with these guys. I don't know if Roman's going to lose at WrestleMania now.
I don't either. I don't know. So you think basically just more cracks in the bloodline until it crumbles, and then Roman's the last one standing.
Because by them losing the titles, Roman's going to be upset because again, he wants all the gold. It's going to start causing a rift in that group.
I think they're going to leave them. Like there's be Roman and Paul Heyman, and then they're going to start dwindling, doing their own separate thing.
Because then it's going to be like one of those things like who does Solo choose, Roman or his brothers? And I think it's going to be like similar to what Jay did. Like it's going to look like he's going towards Roman, then all of a sudden he's going to turn on Roman and go with the Usos.
That'd be a good angle, yeah. But I still too think that I'm like right there with you, Brian, that the Usos will lose the tag titles before Roman loses the title, the heavyweight title, and but during that time, the reason to start the bloodline is COVID time, and then was it Jimmy? Jimmy was hurt, so that left with Jay there, and they're kind of in between. He's a tag wrestler. What can he do? They gave him the push to be the bad heel as individual. Then Roman, him and Roman back and forth, and he finally, Roman helps him, elevates him, be a singles, the right hand man, or so it's that happened during that time. Then now you had Jimmy coming back from his injury. They're the tag champions. Now they got all the, Roman gives them the pep talk. Hey, you got to get the titles. They do. And they kept them. I still think that once they lose, they'll push, they'll start going their own separate way. Solo, if they're going to give him a push, he's going to go his separate way to see how he does. But that is a good point that if he decides to go with his brother and turns on Roman, then there could be that potential rumor that, hey, he's going to fight Roman for the title. That could be all rumors, all guesses, nothing.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it goes. You don't know until it's on TV and you watch it.
And then WWE turns around and be like, aha, we got you. You're totally wrong.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, then it would be like, oh, I hate WWE. I ain't watching it again. Oh, you got me. I'm going to watch it.
Exactly. Yeah, everybody in the comments, they're saying, KO and Sammy dethroning the Usos at Mania. Well, if they're going to do that, they got to get KO to actually, like Sammy on TV, which after his beatdown, that might be the case. But Cody is the one that actually came out and kind of protected Sammy to get the boys off of him. So I don't know, man. I don't know what the plans are, but I know I'm gonna be watching. So. Jason says in the comments he wants to know when we're doing Mount Rushmores for factions and that he wants to jump in on that. So nice. Definitely could consider that in the future. Then we got a lot of ideas.
Listen, guys, the Mount Rushmores are endless. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's tons of things we can do Mount Rushmores for. So
that's right.
If you have suggestions for Mount Rushmores, please put them in the comments, and we can always use the suggestions. So.
Yeah. And James G, he's saying Tribal Chief is done after Mania. His reign is over in Hollywood. I don't know, man. I used to feel like it was. But now, after Rumble and everything that's happened since, I feel like they're going to want him to beat one of those title-holding records. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, that's...
I always thought during those times that Brock would have beat him one of those 3 times. It never happened. So then it's like, I don't see, unless Roman's got some kind of health issue or getting a big payday and he's going to go do something else or needs time off. That is the only time he's going to lose the title. I like Cody Rhodes. I would love to see him win it, but I don't see Roman losing them right now.
Definitely feel that. Jason says, awesome show. Would love to jump on and chat about anything. Used to do a podcast in the 80s. Hell yeah, the OG, man.
Hey, the more the merrier, Jason.
Absolutely, man. We could always use more guests, and we're going to start implementing that more. I know Kyle was our guest last week, and now we're kind of just we're letting Kyle run with us. So can't have everybody sticking around forever, but we'll definitely have some guests on. But that was everything that I had for us this week on the Rebel podcast.
Something that we could probably talk. I know we got probably 14 minutes, or if we need to waste a little time. Did anybody see Liv Morgan? The Liv Morgan, big social media. They're talking about Liv Morgan at the New York Knicks game.
I didn't see that.
She was as a guest to go to promote WrestleMania, so she went to a New York Knicks game, sat courtside. And then there were some random dudes that sat right beside her, and this guy's like talking to her, and she is not paying him one bit of attention, not even listening to him. She looks pissed off, looks upset, and like I saw like all kinds of like memes and stuff that this was like like one of those like terrible dates or that he's just talking and she's not listening. And what it was they found out to be that guy is a WWE works for WWE also to help promote the WrestleMania, and it was he works for WWE, so they were there together. But then they were like, well, they're not a couple. She's with Bo Dallas in real life, and that. But go back and watch that. They have it on there. There's like a lot of memes, a lot of people making fun of that guy, and like Liv looked like she didn't have they didn't want nothing to do with this guy, but she was there. They got her own New York Knicks basketball jersey. She got to go out, I guess, on the half court and try to promote that. But yeah, it kind of looks like it might have elevated her career now, like as of the heel wise. It look go check it out.
How awesome would it have been if they put the kiss cam on him?
Yeah.
That'd have been awesome.
Yeah, so I didn't see that, but I did see on SmackDown when she lost. I can't remember who she faced, but she got her ass beat. a kid in the crowd got put on camera that was really upset. It was a young girl crying and stuff. And I had seen on social media about how they took her backstage and let her meet Liv and calmed her down and everything. So I saw that, but that's kind of weird how like there was two things over the weekend.
One was good. One was like, well, you know, who's this mysterious guy? And then she looks pissed off. And then another good thing, I'm glad you brought that up. Talking about AEW real quick. I know WWE's great with the fans, AEW as well. The kid that got the drink thrown on him by MJF during the AEW pay-per-view, of course, supposedly that was a work that, you know, the mom, you know, he got the cup from the mom and she threw it on the kid's lap. Well, they said it was a work, wasn't a work, but he didn't get it like thrown like all over him, but like on his pants. What they did is Tony Khan saw that and they went and got the kid to come backstage to meet his favorite wrestler, which was Powerhouse Hobbs. And they show a photo of that, of the kid actual meeting, some of his talents that he liked, which is a great gesture. AEW has been great about that, allowing the kids fan-friendly environment. And that was a cool moment too.
Did you see that post-press conference that MJF did where he was eating the pickles?
Yes, and then had people come up to get a pickle and talking about that as the best pickle they ever have. And
that whole time he's sitting there going off prior to that moment, like where he's walking up onto the stage and he's cussing, acting a fool like MJF does. And then you see Tony Khan in the background he just looked amazed or shocked that he was behaving like that, like he didn't know that was going to happen with MJF. But I just remember looking at Tony Khan's face through that whole little segment that they did, and he's just looking like, oh my God, this guy is amazing. Because I think MJF is amazing, even though he's a fucking dick. Yeah, that's his job. So if you hate him,
that's human reality.
He's doing his job. Yeah. All right.
We'll see him in Indianapolis, but I probably won't go see him. But
yeah, make sure Will doesn't get anywhere near him. Will doesn't do well with people with bad attitudes.
Yep.
But yeah, with that being said, is there any plugs or anything else we need to get out of the way? Like any news with the group this week? I know we didn't have a live sale this week, but you guys will be returning next Tuesday.
Yeah, a lot. Like I said, just cheap plugs. Check it. Me and William Hudson out on Tuesday night. We're the tag team champs. All wrestling auctions. Be here on Top Ropes Collectibles. I always say Top Ropes. Top Rope Collectible Wrestling and Autographs. Check us out on Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Like I said, just speaking for myself, I have a ton of new stuff, like a lot of Holy Grails, hopefully for people to add to their collections, hopefully give, some great steals and deals as always. Also, another cheap plug. As you can see on the bottom, it's been scrolling through the whole show. Thank you, Stephen. It is our information for our guest. Our guest at Indianapolis Squared Circle, April 7th and 8th, is Powers of Pain. And also partnering with the GTC guys for Demolition. So we have pre-orders available. There's only a small handful of pre-orders available. So please get those pre-orders in as soon as you can. Please contact myself or William Hudson for a dual sign. Powers of Pain, it's $30. We have 4 different options. We have 2 TRC exclusives and then 2 spotlights. Then for individuals, either Barbarian or Warlord, it's $20 a piece. We have 2 of each of individual photos. Then we have a quad photo, which is Powers of Pain and Demolition for $65. Of course, we suggest if you're going to be at the show, to please go on and also do pre-orders, because it will be cheaper doing pre-orders than it would be at the show, because the prices will increase at the show. Also, we have the images up so you can see the different images. If you want to do a mail-in, you have till March 31st to have it sent to me. If it is not in hand March 31st, you're SOL. I'm sorry, because we will be gone. We'll leave. So please get them out. You got less than 2 weeks to get them mailed out. Then I will send out a big invoice to everyone that did pre-orders to please pay by April 5th, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, because the next following day is when I head to Indianapolis. So pre-orders, you still have like less than a month to have the money to be able to pay, but I'll make a post. So please don't pay me till I make that post. That way I can keep it all organized and together. That's all right now, all the plugs I got, Steven.
Yeah. One little thing that I'll go ahead this weekend, Will, Kev, Ben, you'll be there as well. The big time wrestling event.
Maybe.
Okay.
The reason why I say maybe, which is breaking news, I know I've talked to Kev. I have some photos. USPS is sucking ass right now. I had photos I ordered for a signing for next weekend, ordered on Monday. They're supposed to have been here today. Now or not, it's not arrived. I have to wait till mail those out before I can actually go. So it might show up tomorrow, might not. It might not show up till Saturday. But as soon as I get those, then I can have those. I got to ship those out ASAP. But I'm still wanting to go. But right now I'm iffy. So,
gotcha. Well, I know Will be there. And Kev as well. Yeah. There's a lot of great talent there. So, I mean, obviously he's going to be getting a lot of stuff signed. We'll probably see a lot of these names on Tuesday night sale. Yep. I know I'm getting a stinger for sure. I'm paying him for it tomorrow. But yeah, you got Enzo, Dan Severn, Too Cold Scorpio, Nasty Boys. Devon's going to be there. Brother Devon. Not just Devon, but Brother Devon. RVD, Carlito. Also, that's another underrated guy, I think. Arn Anderson, Honky Tonk, man. I'm a big mark for Honky Tonk. I don't know why, but I just love them. Ron Simmons, Sabu, tons of talent going to be there. Demolition's also going to be there. And
also, they got added to there. It's not on there. Is Warlow.
Wardlow? Yep, that's right. Kev was talking about that. Yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah, we'll be seeing a lot of those autos showing up probably on Tuesday for sale if anybody's interested. Other than that, that's everything we've got for you guys this week. We really appreciate you tuning in, and hopefully you enjoyed the show. We'll be back again next Thursday night live on the Facebook group. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like us on Facebook if you do that kind of thing. And, Brian, you got something for us?
Yeah, just real quick, like Ben said about those pre-orders for the, for the Powers of Pain, guys, those prints are only exclusive to TRC. So,
yes.
If you're not going to find them anywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I know there's not that many left. So, again, if you guys want pre-orders, reach out to Ben, reach out to William, reach out to Donnie, reach out to Cameron. They'll take care of you, okay? But these are exclusive to TRC only. So,
yeah, and it's I forgot to mention that too. Thank you, Brian. It's $30 shipped back to you. So you're paying for 2 autographs and you're getting free shipping. So you're getting it shipped to you if you cannot make it. Mail-ins, you have to pay the shipping and the shipping back to you if you do a mail-in. But if you do pre-orders, it's free shipping. So that would save you at least anywhere from $6 to $8 or $10. So
yeah, for sure. I just realized I didn't have the TRC logo on the stream the whole time. I got it up now on the top right. I know. I really dropped the ball today. I'm sorry about that, guys. But yeah, if you want to follow us on Facebook, the group name is Top Rope Wrestling Collectibles and Autographs. You see the logo at the top right of your screen right now. Just look for that picture and you'll know you found the right group. Thanks so much for watching. As long as anybody else doesn't have anything, we'll go ahead and we'll call it a night.
Yes, thank you, everybody.
See you guys.
See you next time.